Oh, fine. Very good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's lecture on we are starting with the new topic or new syllabus, that is marketing of financial services. Now, basically at this stage, why this particular subject or the course has been applied for you or given for you, it is a major concern that at every point of time, whenever you will be going for your final placements, at every stage as a marketing company or as a job in the marketing specialization, you will be dealing with the different types of financial services that are into existence. So whenever you are dealing with the financial services, it is very important to understand what is the background of the financial industry, how our banking system is into, and how the financial industry is governing, controlling, or it has been regulated. So for this particular purpose, this syllabus has been implemented or incorporated in your term, and we are going to see with what is the concept of marketing of financial services. Now, the first chapter or the first syllabus, it specifically focuses on the concept of banking and its definition and functions. So, in this particular chapter, chapter number 1, we'll be dealing with and you will be understanding what is the concept of banking, the origination of banking, and various functions related or associated with the terms of banking. The chapter number 1 comprises of the various contents, that is concepts, nature and scope of banking system in India. So what is the nature and what is the scope and what is the coverage of banking as a particular industry or as a particular sector. So the history and growth of banking will be seeing at this particular stage, and next thing is the regulatory framework of the Indian banking system, that is the growth of Indian banking sector in India since the pre-independence and post-independence era, and as on today, what is the growth of banking sector in terms of percentage and in terms of graphical representation. You will be seeing with or understanding the growth of banking sector. Further, the role of banks in the Indian economy and the importance of banking in the economy. So in this way, what role has the bank has played individually as an individual bank, as a public sector or private sector bank, and combined it together as a Reserve Bank of India, what role it is playing. Then we are having an overview of the banking functions of Indian banking and the non-banking financial companies. So NBFC and the banking company, what are the various functions and what is the overview of this particular concept, that also we'll be studying and dealing in detail. Next thing is the understanding the trends and challenges in the Indian banking system. So upcoming trend, that is since independence, we have seen that the Indian banking system has went after various drastic changes and what these particular changes are and how the industry has coped up with all these changes and what are the various future challenges as on today in the terms of technology, in terms of digital banking system that is into existence, and how it has overcome all those challenges. Then the various concepts with respect to Reserve Bank of India, that is the CRR, that is cash reserve ratio, the statutory liquidity ratio, that is SLR, the repo rate, reverse repo rate, and the functions of banking with respect to the open market operations, the security valuation, the capital account convertibility, the concept of NPA, and what are the various different categories of NPA. These particular things are in very shorter perspective, that is you need to just have a conceptual understanding about these concepts. Then lastly, the overview of KYC and Anti-Money Laundering Act in India. So why this particular act has been came into picture and why it has been implemented and what are the various provisions that have been made in terms of Anti-Money Laundering Act. So as on today, we are seeing that the corporates or the large industrials or the investors are uh, they are not utilizing, or the fund that has been provided, it is not utilized properly, and why the Anti-Money Laundering Act was passed in India, and what is how from since when it is applicable, and what are the various terms and provisions with this particular act. Next, furthermore, we'll be dealing with about the concept of KYC. So why a particular bank undertakes the concept of KYC and what are the various provisions with respect to the KYC, that also we'll be studying and seeing in detail. Next, now this particular thing is the scenario or the concept of the overview of the Indian financial system that you can see at this particular stage. So the financial system, it is broadly categorized or classified in terms of the financial institutions, the financial markets, the financial assets or the instruments in the financial markets, and the financial services. So the institution is into place and it is further divided into various terms, that is now financial institution comprises of the banking institution and the non-banking institution. Furthermore, now here at this stage, what we are seeing in the first chapter, we are understanding with the bank what are the concept of the banking institution, and then we will be dealing a short perspective of what is NBFC, that is non-banking financial institution. The banking institution are further classified in terms of the commercial banks, cooperative banks, regional rural banks, that is RRB, and the various foreign banks. Commercial banks forms the part of Indian economy. Cooperative and regional, again the part of the Indian economy, whereas the foreign banks, it is a particular concept or a particular origination wherein a particular outsider is from a different country is coming in and he is establishing the bank in our economy or in our local boundaries, then that particular bank is called as a foreign bank. The commercial banks are further classified into two categories, that is a public sector bank and a private sector bank. So in this way, the classification of banking institution is into existence. Now let's come back to the second perspective, that is the financial markets. The financial markets are further classified into two categories, that is unorganized market and organized market. So in this way, we have two types of market that is into existence. Unorganized market, that is the various saukars, zamindars, sarpanch and all those particular things wherein there is no proper control, there is no proper governing authority and this particular stage, and the money or the amount is been taken or the fund is been raised from the private lenders. So these particular things are comprising under the terms of unorganized market. In terms of the organized market is that particular perspective wherein the control, regulation or governing authority or the governing body is in terms of the government that is into existence. Either the state government or either the central government is conducting, controlling and regulating or governing the authorities, or the proper mechanism is there into existence. The organized market is further classified into two categories, that is the capital market and the money market. So from where the amount of money or the fund can be raised by the different vendors, by the different corporates or by the different industries, this particular concept comes in the terms of organized market. So financial markets is a particular concern wherein where you are going to the particular market perspective and you are trying to raise a certain sum of money, and this money can be raised from either the capital market or from the money market. Money market wherein your requirement is for very short term, and capital market is a concern wherein your requirement is of a very long term and your requirement is also very huge or in large proportion. So short term duration, that is either for the 5 months, 6 months, but less than 1 month or less than 1 year, the concept is called as a money market. So maximum amount of requirement is, for example, for either 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs, then that you can approach to the money market. But if your amount is more, that is 50 lakhs, 1 crore, 10 crores and so on, then you can approach and go to the capital market and you can raise the money from the general public. The further division of capital market is in terms of primary market and secondary market. So in this way, it is further classified into two further categories. Now understanding the concept of financial services. Financial services are further broadly classified in terms of the fund-based service and the fee-based service. Fund-based service wherein these particular services are made applicable or they have been given for just raising the fund for a particular business or a particular venture. Now these particular types of fund-based services can be either for leasing, hire purchase, consumer credit, bill discounting, factoring, insurance and so on. So in this way, these are the different types of fund-based services and the different types of services wherein the fund can be raised by the different associations or the organizations. The fee-based services, that is the issue management, the merchant banking, the credit rating, the debt restructuring, the stock broking and so on. So in this way, different structures or the origination of the fund-based and fee-based services are into existence. Now the next perspective, how is the regulatory system of the financial markets or the financial industry in India? The major proportion you can see at this particular stage is the major composing or the governing authority is in terms of the Ministry of Finance. So Ministry of Finance governs or controls all the activities and it is controlling all the association or the major primary associations with respect to the financial industry that is into existence. At the broader perspective, the first stage we have the Reserve Bank of India, that is RBI. Second stage we have the SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India. Third is the IRD, that is Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. And lastly, other institutions, that is Public Deposits, NABARD, DFHI, PFRDA and so on, that is Provident Fund Regulatory Authority of India. So in this way, we have different associations for the corporate bodies or the government bodies who are controlling and regulating the different associations at this stage. Now, with respect to RBI controls or it governs the different activities or associations with respect to the banks or the NBFCs and major players, that is SIDBI, UTI, LIC and so on. So it is having the control or the regulation on the banks also. With respect to the banks, either it may be a commercial bank or it may be a cooperative bank, and the banks are further classified under different categories. These certain different categories, as we have seen earlier, it may be So these particular different categories may be either public sector bank, foreign bank, private sector bank, regional rural bank, and so on. So either a nationalized bank or a State Bank of India group or a different other private associated group or a private bank or a public bank can also be a part of this concern, and accordingly the banks can be further classified or the meaning. Now another perspective, what is the origin of the word bank? So how does this particular word, that is the bank, has come into picture or the origination? So the bank word is derived from the Greek, French and German word. So different association of different countries have the different meaning. So Greek, they call this bank, that is B-A-N-Q-E. In French it is called as B-A-N-K-E, which means chest or a certain deposit. In German, again, they called it as a bank, that is, which means a heap or a mound, so wherein a group of collection of things is made available. And Italians called it as a banco, which means accumulation of money or stock. So either at many place or at any point of time, whatever you are storing or whatever you are collecting, this particular term or concept or origination can be called as a word of bank. Now let's look at the definition of bank. So according to the Banking Companies Act, Banking Regulation Act of India, that is 1949, what does a bank mean? So bank means the accepting for the purpose of lending or the investment of deposits of money from the public, repayable on demand or otherwise, and withdrawals by check, draft and otherwise. So it's a traditional definition given by the bank, so you can think you can understand that it is not in a proper organized or proper way. So the accepting, so what does a bank do? Bank accept, so for the purpose of lending or for investment. So what they are accepting? So they are accepting any money, so of deposits of money from the public. So if a particular organization or a particular company is accepting a deposit from you, for what purpose? For the purpose of lending or for investment. So a particular bank can accept a money from a particular individual or from a company or from a corporate. For what purpose? For either lending this particular money to someone else or for the purpose of investment. Now how it can be made? Either repayable on demand or otherwise, and withdrawable by check. So this particular amount can be given at any point of time. It may be either withdrawable by check, draft or otherwise, any mode or any form. And if it has been accepted by different people, then this particular association is called as a bank as a certain perspective. Now understanding or looking at the different perspectives with respect to the characteristics of commercial banks. So now let's look at the various characteristics that have been associated with bank. First thing, it is a proper commercial establishment. So what is a commercial establishment? That is, it is completely for the particular purpose or a particular motive, either for the profit maximization or the wealth maximization. Accordingly, it has a certain establishment purpose of its own. So as per the Companies Act, what we are seeing, every organization must have a benefit or must have a certain purpose of its own. So in this way, the Banking Regulation Act has a certain or a characteristics of the bank is of a certain nature, that it is also having a certain commercial establishment, it is having a proper entity which is registered with the government. Second thing, it is always accepting the deposits from the general public. So either you may be an individual, either you may be a corporate, either you may be a registered or unregistered body, the bank can accept the deposits from any of the organization, from any of the people. So in this way, the bank is accepting the deposits from different people. Another concern, that is repayment of accepted deposits. So the bank can repayment can make or give in return whatever the deposit that they are expected, that they have accepted from different people. So whatever the amount that you are taking or that you are receiving, the amount can be either repaid to yourself or either it can be repaid to someone else. So in this way, the amount is either accepted by you or it is. Hello. Hello. Yes, any questions at this stage? Hello. Okay. Next thing, the fourth characteristics of bank is it is called as a financial intermediary. So at every stage or every point of time, what does the bank do? Banks act as a financial intermediary. So it always acts as an intermediary, as a certain mediator, wherein it transfers or conducts the activities between a vendor, that is a particular lender, and a particular borrower. So it has to always act as a link between two persons, either a person he is depositing a certain sum of money, or either a particular person he is withdrawing a certain sum of money. So accepting the deposits and withdrawing this particular money, everyone has to undertake this transaction, and accordingly bank acts as a mediator between these people. Withdrawable by check, draft or otherwise. So any type of mode or any type of instrument that can be applied, and accordingly the money can be accepted or the money can be withdrawn by either the check, draft, bills receivable, bills payable, any mode. It may be in terms of cash also. So in this way, the bank is conducting the transactions. The commercial banks are conducting the respective transactions in any mode or any form, whatever it may be applicable as per the need and requirement of the customer. Advancing loans to the public. So another major feature or the perspective, now if a particular bank is accepting the deposits from you, at the same point of time it is advancing the loans to the general public also. So as an individual, you also can go and approach the respective banking concern, and accordingly the amount of loan can be availed whatever may be the requirement. So as per your need, as per your requirement, whether in terms of lakhs or crores or the smaller scale or the larger scale, you can approach your respective bank, and the amount can be raised accordingly by the different organizations or by the different individuals. And lastly, earning the profit. So an individual can also come forward and earn a profit at this particular stage. So as a corporate or as a commercial establishment, the bank has a certain association or a certain feasibility to earn the profits for themselves also. So the bank can earn profits for themselves at the same point of time. Commercial banks. So furthermore, the functions of the commercial banks have been divided into four categories. That is the primary function, the secondary function, the development function, and lastly the modern functions. Now let's look at all these particular functions one by one in detail. So first thing, the primary functions are further classified or further divided into major two parts, that is acid test functions and the other functions. So it may be called as a pre-primary and the post-primary. So primary functions are again further classified into primary, that is the major functions, and the minor functions. Acid test function that are further classified in terms of accepting the deposits and advancing the loan. So a particular bank, as we earlier know, in terms of the definition, always it is been associated or it has been established for accepting the deposits from the general public, and it is established for giving or advancing the loans to the general public. So it can take or it can accept the deposit from the people also, and it can give the loans or the advance the loans to the general public. So it is called as a major function. And another function, that is credit creation, that is in order to create the circulation in a particular money or in order to create the circulation in the economy, the bank can create a credit creation in the economic perspectives also. And lastly, check payment system. So at this particular stage, as on today, what we are seeing, the bank is digitally developing, and at every stage point of time, the check transaction has also been introduced, wherein we are making the digital payments, online payment or internet banking facility is into existence. So in the same way or the same point of time, initially the primary function of the bank was to accept or give the loan of deposits also. First thing, now accepting the deposits. Now let's look at the various functions, that is the four major functions in detail perspective. So the deposits withdrawal by checks, which distinguish a commercial bank from a certain non-other banking institution. So banking institution can accept the deposit terms of the checks also and non-check transactions also, whereas a non-banking financial company accept the deposits in terms of cash or the non-cash transactions. A bank accept the non-checkable deposits also, that is it must accept the checkable deposits also. So what does a bank do? Bank accept the money in terms of your checks also and non-check also. So you can, if you are not having a check, then you can give a demand draft also, then or either you can deposit the sum of money in terms of cash also. So in this way, both the options are available with a particular vendor or a particular individual, and accordingly the amount can be deposited in your respective account. The deposits are accepted. Okay, I'll be reposting the link for you because it's just only for the 40 minutes. So you have to join back from the same link that has been provided. Accept the deposits from the public at the large and not merely from its shareholders. So it can accept the deposits not only from the shareholders or from the members of the organization, but it can accept the deposits from different people or the general public also. So in this way, the amount has been accepted or the deposit has been accepted from the different peoples also, that is the public at large. Different types of accounts. So various different types of accounts from the primary or the historical perspective, we can see it can accept the deposit for the fixed deposit, saving deposit, or the current or the flexible account also. So in this way, different types of amounts are also been accepted by the banks. Lending and advancing of loan. So in order, so the particular bank can give or advance you a certain different types of loans also, and these particular methods of loan can be either money at call, overdraft facility, cash credit facility, discounting of bills, term loan, and credit to the government. So different types of loan facility can also be given for you, and accordingly the bank can advance you different types of loans also. So as per your need and requirement, the loan may be either for the short term and the loan may be either for the long term perspective. Credit creation. Now in the simple terms, what is the concept of credit creation? That is circulating or flow of money from one people to another people, or from one organization to another organization. So in this way, what we can see at this particular stage, the bank can also create a certain credit by transferring the money from one people to another people. So banks are able to create the credit because the demand deposit, that is the claim, can against the bank can be accepted by public in settlement of their debt. So in order to settle your debt, you can respective approach to your respective bank, and accordingly the transactions can be transferred or resettled from one person to another person, and you can create a part of money supply and demand supply in the particular monetary economy at the simultaneous stage or point of time. This topic now in terms of the credit creation, how does a bank creates a credit, we'll later deal into detailed perspective when we will be understanding about the concept of repo and reverse repo rate and CRR and SLR. Check system of the payment of funds. So at this particular stage, at this in a corporate level or in terms of the large scale organizations, what we see, the check is being used at a very larger perspective, and for the making in the terms of the payments of the corporates and the industrialists, the check is being used at the very larger scale. So in this way, the bank accepts the check system also, and accordingly either you can pay a certain sum of money in terms of the check also, or you can go for the payment in terms of the non-banking transactions also. So in this way, various different options are made available for you, and the bank can accept or make the payment in terms of the checks also, and in terms of the non-check transactions also. Secondary functions. Now the secondary functions of the bank. Now earlier we have seen the primary functions. Now the secondary functions form the part of the agency function and the general utility services. So what are the various services that the bank provides, and what are the various agency functions that have been associated with the bank? So the various major agency functions are with respect to the collection of payments of credit and other instruments. So the bank can accept the various collection of your payments in terms of your different collection with respect to the payments of hundis, payments of checks, payments of deposits, bill of exchanges, and so on. So accordingly, the bank can accept the deposits, accept the money from the different sources or different mediums, and accordingly the payment can be advanced and the amount can be cleared off. Purchase and sale of the stock exchange and securities. So if you are dealing with at any point of time, that is your transactions have been associated or dealt with the stock exchange transaction, that is you are dealing with the capital market transactions. So the bank can come forward and provide you a certain mechanism or a certain mode for making the payments in terms of the stock exchange transactions also. So in terms of the mediation in the stock market or the capital market also, bank acts as a mediator, and the payment procedure or the payment of terms can be applied in terms of the banking industry at the simultaneous stage. Administration of will and the trusteeship, that is in terms of your preparing of any document that has been related to your either will preparation or the document of the trustee, that is the corporate organizations. The bank act as a mediator, and accordingly the financial transactions of your administrative purpose, that is the legal matters, can also be settled in terms of the banking perspective. Remittances of fund, that is if you want to remit a particular fund, that is transferring of fund from one person to another person, one account to another account, one country to another country. So in the same way, the bank can remit your funds also at this particular stage. So the remittance of fund can be either in terms of your check, draft, main transfer, electronic transfer, wire transfer, e-transfer, bank transfer, that is RTGS, NEFT, and so on. So remittances of fund from one account to another account is also available, or is also possible at this stage. Representation and correspondence. So if you want a certain representation in terms of your banking perspective, so bank acts as your representative or your correspondent also. So in this way, the bank can give you a certain letter of credit, letter of authority, and accordingly the credit creation can be created by the bank from your own perspective. And lastly, the bullion trading. In terms of the bullion trading, that is if you want to conduct the trade or the transactions or the purchase and sale of securities in the international market with respect to your currency, with respect to your purchase of sale of either securities, stocks, gold, silver, diamonds, purchase of any commodities in the MCX market. So at this particular stage, in terms of your bullion trading also, the bank acts as a mediator, and accordingly you can conduct the transactions of the bullion trading also. Now, the next perspective or the secondary function with respect to the general utility services. So what are the various other services that have been provided by bank? That is receiving of valuable for safe custody. That is, it provides the facility for the locker facility as a certain situation also. So if you want to maintain or create a certain security at this particular stage, so bank can act as a certain receivable or a security purpose, wherein you can go and you can avail a particular custody, and accordingly the amount of goods and services can be kept as a reserve or a stock with this particular bank. acting as a referee. So if you want to act, if you want your bank to act as a certain referee also, then the particular bank can act for you as a certain referee, and accordingly you can, the letter of credit or issue of a certain reference certificate can be provided by the banks. Act as an underwriter. If for conducting any of the business transactions or the activities, the bank can act for you as an underwriter also, and you can conduct your business activities or transaction in terms of the capital market or the money market that is into existence. Next thing, acting as an information bank. So if at any stage or any point of time, if you need any information and the particular information is been needed or required by this particular correspondent, so bank can provide you different information with respect to the money market, capital market, government agencies, and so on. With respect to the literacy and illiteracy, the bank can conduct the various activities in terms of your CSR also, and they can provide the information of the individual, information of the corporates, information of the people, the general public, or the government organization, non-government organizations, and so on. So they can provide or give you the information of the banking perspective or non-banking perspectives also, that is apart from banking activity. Issuance of traveler checks and the foreign exchanges, that is the bank can issue the traveler checks, that is if you are traveling from one country to another country or from one location to another location, then the bank can provide you the different travelers checks also. So in this way, the various transactions, various activities that can be conducted by the different banks in terms of your traveler checks also, and this particular situation also. And next thing, that is the concept of foreign exchange. So in terms of dealing with the foreign exchange also, the bank can conduct different activities for exchange of goods and services in terms of your foreign currency transaction. That is, if you want either dollar, euro, yen, pound, rupee currency, if you want to convert any of your currency into any form or any mode, then at this particular stage also the bank can provide you these particular transactions, and accordingly when the particular bank, if you are approaching, and the currency can be exchanged by one mode to another mode. And lastly, the merchant banking services. Now merchant banking services, that particular concern wherein if you want to conduct any of these services which is not related to your banking activity, that is either for accepting the deposits or advancing of loan, then at this particular stage also the bank can provide you or give you a certain loan facility in terms of the merchant banking services also. Now merchant banking service is that particular concern wherein apart from your banking activity, that is not as per your traditional activity, the bank can provide you or give you certain activities in terms of your credit creation, in terms of your giving a credit authority, creation of debt, creation of security, act as a representative, controlling your activities or transactions in terms of the local market, that is the domestic market, international market, or the global market. So at every point or at every stage or point of time, the bank can act as a merchant banker for you, and it can represent your particular country, or it can represent your organization. Accordingly, the business activities transactions can be conducted by your respective bank. So in this way, the various general utility services are also been conducted by the bank accordingly, and you can conduct the business transactions whatever that has been required. So in terms of the primary function and in terms of the secondary functions, the bank conducts the different activities, and accordingly we can see and we can understand the bank can conduct the transactions, and it can help you to conduct the business activities in terms of the financial nature, or it may be in terms of the non-financial nature. So we have seen in this particular slide or in this particular lecture the primary function with respect to the accepting the deposits and granting of loan, and the secondary function with respect to the agency functions and the general utility functions that have been approached or that have been conducted by the bank at this particular stage. So in this way, the various functions of the bank that have been conducted, and accordingly the bank either accept the deposit or either it advances the loan for you. So we have